So now that I had like the purpose or the meaning of life figured out, maybe not my purpose, why am I here, but I didn't care. I was just like, consumed with love. And he was consuming me, like love, 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 love. I told that boyfriend that I was like, I love Jesus and you don't believe he's real. And he was like, well, I love you. I was like, well, I worship Jesus. And he was like, well, he was like, well, I worship you. And I'm like, well, I don't want that. But I just prayed. I was like, God, I just need you to break this off. Like, I know it's not of you. I don't want to be in this. So, and 2 times I had to pray that prayer 2 times and it would be done. And then I'd go, but what if, you know those what ifs? I go, what if? And I'd pray again and he'd be like, it'd be done. And I was able to cut it off and just walk through my life. I just got involved in my church and I felt like I was supposed to stop teaching exercise at the time. I was losing my location. My location was temporary and I just felt like there was no peace in opening another studio or getting involved in anything like a lease or anything really crazy, because I actually wanted to go be a missionary. I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm just gonna live my life for Jesus. And I got set up by Summer and Peter, who were the newsboys, on a blind date with the guy. And they kept telling us about each other. And he's a year younger than me. And I'm like, I'm not dating anybody I've got to take care of that doesn't have more money than me, that doesn't have all of his ducks in a row, everything together. I just was ready to be taken care of and relax a little bit. And I was, at that time, I was 29. And they were like, but you've got to meet him, just meet him. He's from New Zealand. And so finally agreed to meet up with this guy. And I remember just walking up and seeing him, and he was tall and he had these broad shoulders and he had ridden a motorbike and he was just a man. And I remember just being like, okay, this is so cool. I was looking at YWAM, this was just a missionary thing, and as we sat having dinner and getting to know each other, he's like, oh, I grew up as a YWAM missionary. I grew up as a missionary kid on a mercy ship. And I'm like, kind of again, like, this is crazy. He works for the Newsboys. He's related to some of the guys in the Newsboys. He's a YWAMer. I want to go into YWAM. And I just was like, he's a Christian. He's living for God. I was just like, wow, this is so crazy. So 3 months later, we got married. And because when you know, I've met him. He was 28, I was 29. I was like, I can just deal with the year age difference. I'll just always be a year older, that's fine. And it is a little bit of a complex, but I'm over it now. So we left the country. We went to some of the countries that I had visited. We went to countries that I had never visited. We went to New Zealand, and 2 months after we got married, I got pregnant with our daughter. And so I'm watching like everything. I'm still struggling. I mean, I still had those things. I still had those chains of perfection and body image craziness. I remember getting married to him and then feeling like he was gonna wish that he had married somebody else because I wasn't, skinny enough or beautiful enough, or I would point out my imperfections to him. I would see cellulite on my legs and go, do you see this? And he's like, yes, who cares? I don't see it. Yeah, but no, but whatever. He didn't care. He just thought I was great. And he was happy he chose me. And I got pregnant, and man, body started changing instantly. Everything that I had placed my value and my worth and my power in I was losing. I was losing that with every day that passed. And it was tough. And it was also great because I was like, I couldn't do anything about it. I was like, well, it's gonna have to change. And, but it was not easy. And even worse was when I had our daughter, like, you know, currently your husbands are in the labor room with you. So everything, it's just like, he's like seeing me at my worst. And then you have the baby and you don't lose the weight. You probably are the same, the same weight when you go in as out. And I'm going, oh my goodness, like, how is he gonna love me? Like, I'm just this thing now, like, that has a baby, and I don't even know what to do with the baby, and I have all this anxiety, and it's crazy. And I remember we were somewhere, I think we were at church one day, and there was this beautiful young girl, and she walked in, and this made me cry. And before, I would have been so worried, like, oh, I hope he doesn't notice her, or she's too pretty, or and I never minded other people being pretty, but I remember how, I think he noticed because she was so stunning. And I remember him looking at me and just with so much love. And I'm just like 2 months postpartum, not at my best, And it was like God used him to show me that he didn't love me for my shell. And with body image, I still have issues just like anyone, but since that day, I've never lived there more than a few minutes or an hour, say. I've never gotten a paddle brush back to myself. I did after we were married. I remember Levi coming home when we lived in New Zealand, and he's like, "You've beat yourself again." And I was like, "I know, I'm sorry." And but it was after I had Salome, and he stuck with me through all my crazy. And as this gorgeous, and by human standards, girl walked in, and he looked at me just to, I don't even know if he knows he did that, but I realized, like, it's not about my outer shell. It's not about my looks. It's not about my imperfections or the ways that I feel great. It was just love. And to this day, I think I had to walk it out instead of being miraculously healed of that. It's a disease, crazy, crazy brain stuff, crazy torment, crazy. I know how so many people feel, women, because I've been there my whole life, but I don't live there anymore. And I know I had to walk it out because I needed to understand what it was that I was doing to myself, and I was not able to grasp that the outer shell was not who I was. And that is why I do what I do now, and that is why I am continuing to teach fitness, because to be quite honest, I could not care less about thin thighs, sleek arms, six-pack abs, all the names of the DVDs that I've done, all the names of the segments that I put up. I think about those sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's catchy, because it's a fitness industry term, but I could not care less about. I care about women and our daughters understanding that the outer shell is just an outer shell, and that's it. It is not it's not who you are. And it makes me so mad that so many of us live in torment and torture day in and day out, hating ourselves for not measuring up to be valued, worthwhile, loved, stolen. We allow ourselves to be stolen from. We allow ourselves to believe these stupid airbrush lies of billboards and magazines and the fashion and fitness industry. And that's why I'm passionate about it. It's why I'm passionate about doing what I do, and continuing to remind others that it's not about the imperfections. It's not about the way you look. That's just a byproduct. It's just a byproduct of a lifestyle. It's a byproduct of, that's fine if you want thin thighs or sleek arms. That's fine. I don't have a problem with wanting that. That can't be your mission though. You've got to we've got to rip out those lies and say no to them and just understand that you're more than your facade. So I guess the motivation for why I do what I do is first and foremost like the identity crisis that I think so many of us are in. But I still love movement. I still love fitness. I had a girl write me, one of my friends and clients write me the other day, and she does massage, and she's like, "You're a muscle nerd. I just love you for being a muscle nerd." I love the body. I love fitness and understanding and learning and knowing what I teach is sound. I love to work out. I absolutely love to work out. But I guess I like to ask people, what is the motivation? Why are you working out? And if it's to punish yourself because you're not measuring up, then that's the key to go, hey, let's look a little bit deeper. Like, what am I believing? What lies am I believing? If it's to feel great, if it's to, drop a size, if it's to tone your arms or whatever, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with working out as a means to an end. I love to work out mainly just because of the way it makes me feel. I love it, just like it is my natural Prozac. It is like the natural way that I can calm my type A personality down. I just love bar. I love the way that movement makes me feel. It's challenging. I love it. And I think it's kind of a bit of a healthy obsession. So I just would love for people to understand that first and foremost, that I look at your heart and what you could be believing. And I want you to know that sometimes the fitness industry can prey on that. And so just choose wisely and be aware, and don't buy into the ideals. Don't just be your best version of you. Don't buy into the ideals that you have to look a certain way in order to be loved or worthy or valued. In my 16 years of experience in the fitness industry, I have never really come clean and told my story. I've kept it pretty quiet, which, just except for friends and counselors and stuff. But the self-abuse was real. I've experienced it. I hated myself so much. I think that is why I'm so passionate in speaking to the self-image and the identity crisis that we have going on as women and children and men. But, I just want to encourage anyone out there who doesn't feel like they're valued or worthy or loved or lovable or lovely, that you don't have to be a certain height, weight, bone structure. You don't have to be an endomorph or an ectomorph or a mesomorph or whatever the terms are in the fitness industry for your build, whatever. You're so much more than the facade, the body. And you need to check your motivations and make sure that what you're doing for yourself is for the right reasons and not for punishment. And I'm your cheerleader. I was a cheerleader when I was in grade school, and I'm here to cheer you on. I still have to remind myself that I'm not my thighs, I'm not my baby abs, I'm not my cellulite or whatever. I still have to, but I don't live there anymore. I still have to remind myself, but I don't live on that ledge anymore. And I want to encourage you that you don't have to live on that ledge either. And I just want you to know that you are enough. You're enough.